I will continue to hold this though while you do your intro.
Right. Are we ready?
Ready when you are,
How
sausage.
exciting. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Boxing 365 for this, our latest episode. It's a back-to-back sort of special episode for us. Just a little bit of a lull in some of the boxing at the minute, so we've decided to do something a little bit different. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the biggest characters in boxing, especially in recent times, Tyson Fury. Just going to have a little bit of a chat about him, his past, his future, what we make of him as a whole. But before we do that, you might have noticed Tom is cradling rather lovingly a crate of BEER52 craft beers on his knee. And that is because we are officially, proudly partnered with BEER52, who have sent us out some free beers and who are willing to send you some free beers. If you would like to follow the link in our description or use the QR code on screen if you are watching on your television, what you'll be able to do is follow that link, and just for the price of the delivery, you will be able to get yourself a premium case of craft beers, including some snacks as well.
Some snacks, a magazine for you them of them that can read.
Yeah, anyone who can read.
Yeah, not me, apparently.
And you'll get that, as I say, just for the cost of delivery, 8 craft beers.
Yeah.
And we're going to try some today.
We
see
are.
what they like.
This
And
one
we'll be
is
trying them every week.
Carlos Worldwide New Zealand Pilsner. Should we do it on the ready this then?
Oh.
Naughty.
Mic looks high.
My mic's a bit wet. So yeah, so really excited. Not to come away from the Tyson Fury video, but obviously the novelty and the excitement of finally having somebody on board. And
Yeah.
we were really locked in with BEER52, weren't we?
Yeah.
We've been in discussions for the last sort of 3 months or so, and we were heart set that this is the partner we wanted on board for the podcast.
And they wanted to partner with us.
And they did. And do you know what? Super proud to be a part of it. It smells good, doesn't it?
It does. It smells right. I opened it. I was like, damn, punched me in the nose.
But honestly, yeah, super proud. And look, like I say, guys, whether you like us or not, take advantage. The link's there.
Yeah.
It's free. I mean, I say free.
Yeah, delivery.
You have to pay for some delivery, but let's be honest with you. Like these beers as well. Like I've subscribed myself before. They're not poor quality beers. These are properly brewed beers. Like they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. But we don't want to drone on about that too much.
Channel now.
No.
Boxing.
If you do want to have a bit more of a look, they are the UK's #1 beer club, and they will send out subscriptions to you every month as well if that's what you like. So have a look. Think about taking part. But
I might have to open a second.
We aren't.
Sorry, right. But
we aren't
Tyson.
a beer channel, but we are proud to be partnered with them. So we are going to get on to what you're actually here for, or hopefully what you're here for, which is a little bit of a talk about Tyson Fury. And who doesn't know him? Who isn't? He's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him.
He's not even a boxing character anymore, is he? He's a
He's a celebrity.
Yeah, what I was going to say, he's like a Kim Kardashian. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a term for that sort of celebrity, like a lifestyle. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say.
I think I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't.
Yeah, really. He's. I mean, we don't really know that sort of celebrity background, but yeah, he's become now a household name. Yeah. But not only for boxing. Boxing really took off his career, and obviously from that he's built. But it's. I worry now though that he's got this resurgence of I've decided I'm a fighting man and I want to fight and I'll fight till I'm 60 again, and you know he'll retire again in a week, maybe 2. But he's got a lot of this focus of the Netflix robes and At Home with the Furies. He's got a documentary, and look, he's becoming a superstar from that side of television and entertainment sort of aspect of it. But how's that going to affect him in the ring is my worry. But he's achieved everything in the sport. I mean, I know you'll go through a few bits in a second, but there's nothing left for Tyson to prove at this point. If Tyson Fury wanted to just go around fighting Jake Paul and Mike Tyson and just having a bit of an exhibition run around, what has he got left to prove? I mean, the AJ fight is probably the only thing where you go, never happened. But other than that, he's 2-time world champion. He's won every belt available, apart from the prestigious new one that's just come out, Zuffa.
We won't talk about that too much.
But there is a video about that if you want to watch.
Yeah.
It's a bloody awful video. I just get angry all the time. But yeah, so
I think,
I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence.
as we said, he's a
Got something deep.
celebrity. It would take a lot for you to have avoided him or not know who he is. But for those
God,
of
yeah.
you who maybe don't really understand what his boxing journey's been, he started back in 2008, debuted in 2008. Been around a long time.
Oh yeah, what's that? 18? Is that 18 years? How
Oh,
much?
18 years this year.
That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
can't think exactly in 2008 when it was. Um, but he fought up until it took him 7 years to become a world champion.
Beat
Uh,
Klitschko in his backyard, didn't
yeah, went to beat Klitschko in what was a hugely impressive feat. Klitschko was massively dominant,
he? Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
incredible heavyweight, and Fury said he was going to go and beat him. He obviously always talks about the mind games and everything that was
yeah.
involved in that, and the character that he became for that.
Mm-hmm.
But he went there. He beat him for the WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO world titles,
Yeah.
um, and retired.
Tyson Fury, up until that period there, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, and doesn't necessarily follow the boxing side of Tyson, when he went out to fight Klitschko, he was a huge underdog. Huge underdog. Everyone knew his ability. He'd won British titles, had done what he needed to up until that point. But going in against Klitschko, the Klitschko brothers dominated heavyweight boxing for 15, 20 years, for argument's sake, well over a decade. Um, and Tyson Fury deserves the credit that if it wasn't for Tyson going over there and taking them belts, the heavyweight division would never have opened up. When he retired and obviously vacated them belts, your likes of Joseph Parker, your likes of even Anthony Joshua,
Anthony
me,
Joshua.
Charles Martin, we'll talk about because he loves us. Did you
Mm,
know?
yeah,
Loves arguing with me and calling me an idiot.
he's
Um,
not wrong.
he's not now, but he's got nothing better to do with his world championship status than argue with me. And it opened up boxing. Tyson suffered from obviously everyone knows it's quite commonplace about his mental health, but
Yeah,
he suffered from what a lot of boxers suffer from, and that's I think we'd all would. It's sort of Everest syndrome is that you spent your whole career going, "How do I get there?"
yeah. Then you get there.
And you get there. Only ways down.
Yeah, yeah,
And I've never been fortunate enough to get to the top of anything. Me, I'm at the base of Everest,
yeah.
just going, "Ha! Can't get any lower than this."
But it's interesting though. He did go through obviously, and he talked about it a lot. He went through mental health. He had drugs, alcohol, everything. Put on a huge amount of weight.
Only 28 stone at one point or
Yeah,
something crazy.
he was unrecognisable really. At that point, he was
Yeah,
massive.
it was completely.
But it was one of the things is it was only I say only, but it was only really 3 years of retirement because in the February of 2018, I believe it was, or might have been June of 2018, when he came back, um, and it only took him 6 months, or by the end of that year, December,
Yeah,
he was fighting Deontay Wilder for another world title,
yeah.
and a world title that he'd not previously captured, the WBC world title.
Yeah. Well, Deontay had that for 13 fights in like
Yeah,
5 years, hadn't he? To be
yeah,
fair to Deontay,
yeah,
that right hand had kept that title well and truly in his grasp.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you are right, and Deontay was heavily avoided, and Tyson deserves again. And this is where we'll come on to it as we go through the video. But this is where, for me, Tyson deserves a bit of credit
100%.
because he's 6 months back. He was still, when you look at him, if anyone's gone back and watched that first Wilder fight, Fury wasn't in phenomenal shape. But he turned up. He won that fight
Yeah,
with the knockdowns. You look at it, he won literally, other than the rounds where he was knocked down, won every round, won every minute. I won't say he was cheated because knockdowns do tend to sort of sway the judges' viewpoints, especially with rounds following and stuff like
yeah.
that. But yeah, he came out not ready for that fight, really. If he's honest with himself,
Yeah, it was probably it might have been a couple of months
it
early.
was 6 months
That's the
early,
thing.
I would say. But then
Yeah.
when they ran it back in the second fight,
Yeah, well, it took so
two
the
more
interesting
fights. Did he have two more fights?
yeah, Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin in
Mm.
between that. Um, the rematch came in February of 2020,
Yep.
and obviously that was much more conclusive. That was the most conclusive fight they've had.
Yeah.
Um, obviously left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth for me particularly because of everything that came with it, the excuses, the lack of sportsmanship from Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I know the trade words and stuff, but Fury went over there to. I know I've talked about it before. Fury goes over there to congratulate me. I think that might have been the third
That was the
fight.
third fight, yeah.
And he wouldn't have it, you know. He's not happy. He's a cheater. Blah blah blah.
We've seen though
So
with Deontay, haven't we, recently, especially on our shows. So he's fighting Derek Chisora,
yeah.
and again, I think Deontay's past it. I think we've seen the back end of his career now. I think we've seen the better of it. But he was having an interview with Talksport, Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan has come out and said before all of their interviews, it's not like me and you, fucking ragtag cowboys over here just talking
Mm.
about what we want. They obviously have a production team that go through what we can and can't talk about. Certain subjects that you're not allowed to touch on, all the usual stuff. Everything's signed off beforehand. Brought up Tyson Fury about the cheating allegations, and Deontay went off the handle. And them two come hand in hand. You don't share 3 world title fights, 3 trilogies, probably one of the most aggressive, violent trilogies we've seen in heavyweight boxing. Then call him a cheat and claim that he's a cheat, but not be willing to substantiate that argument when asked.
Mm.
Because I'm not being funny, but if you're gonna make them sort of accusations, you need to be able to substantiate. And if you're asked about it, answer the questions. And obviously, for anyone who knows, we saw him stand up, bring up race,
Yeah.
slavery, white privilege, went on an absolute rant, and ended up walking out after threatening behind the scenes to give Simon Jordan a good hiding.
Mm.
And I don't blame him at times. Simon
Yeah.
Jordan probably does deserve a slap from time to time,
Yeah.
but he,
It was
yeah,
another one of those. It felt like a poor
mhm,
like reflection of
100%,
our current boxers. And look, I I've not been. It's that thing again of like you've not been in that position where you're at the peak of the world and somebody knocks you off that
yeah,
perch.
yeah,
So I can't speak to how that feels. I imagine it's soul crushing, but a bit, bit keep your dignity a bit. Why,
yeah,
what's with all the excuses? But that was his, like you say, realistically, it sounds odd to say, even with the fact that Fury beat Klitschko back in the day.
yeah.
That was those fights are his defining
That was the
fights.
peak of his career, yeah,
Yeah, they're his defining fights, and the same for Wilder, even losing them. That it's his defining moment.
yeah,
Though that
100%,
trilogy is obviously going to be talked about. It's
yeah.
probably the most known and most watched trilogy in the last, I don't know,
Oh, I'd
probably.
imagine, I'd imagine probably of all time when you look at the actual
Oh,
numbers over the
I'm
three.
talking about as well, like for its notoriety of like
Yeah,
people who know about it, who
100%.
knew that it happened.
Mhm.
It's got to be one of the most.
Well, people forget because of how big that trilogy was. I appreciate that he lost all 3 fights, but he had a trilogy with Derek Chisora.
Yeah,
Um, so that fight was huge, did massive numbers, made a lot of sense for Tyson, made a lot of sense for Deontay. So all of the excuses, I'm not being funny, but you've known he's a cheat since day one, apparently, right?
yeah,
Okay. This guy's a serial cheat, yeah? So why the fuck did you get back in the ring with him 2 times?
yeah,
After the first time, for clarity, for anyone
yeah,
who's going to
yeah,
pull me up on
yeah.
my maths. Um, yeah, it's a shame because I actually think, as well, controversially, Deontay's decline, I think, will age Tyson's career poorly. I think people will look at that and go, yeah, it was never as good as we thought.
Hmm, maybe. An interesting thing to point out then is that since fighting
That's really good.
Wilder
Yeah.
in what was a closer third fight because of the knockdowns on both
Yeah, yeah,
parts.
absolutely. One of the best fights I've ever seen, that, by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
From a casual point of view, again,
yeah.
technically, pretty poor in the most part.
Well,
But,
one-sided it was poor.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Tyson went in there, box, worked through him, and Deontay just kept landing bombs after bomb after bomb. And
I think that fourth round, it really did fill me with dread
mm,
that it was going to be a bit of a flip the script job.
yeah,
But
100%, yeah.
came through it again as he always really tends to,
Yeah.
and
Fair play to Tyson, 'cause he's
stopped
been
him
down.
now.
Did you know I think he's been down in his career 12 times.
That's mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
But um,
Anyway,
from there, yeah, in between a few more retirements and things like that, he fought Chisora, he's fought Dillian White, he fought Francis Ngannou in a fight that he was. It was one of those weird ones where I feel like he was probably actually fortunate to come away with a win in that fight. But
yeah.
it is what it is. And then most recently and most famously fighting Usyk and losing twice, which obviously has not gone down well with him.
Did you, I know this isn't I know there's not a fight week next week coming up for him. I know he's obviously fighting Makhmedov and he's come back again. But on that topic, did you think he beat Usyk in either of
I
the fights?
think in the first fight
Yeah.
he beat him.
Do you?
I genuinely did, and
No,
I
yeah,
said that when it happened, and I thought that it was tight,
yeah,
but he'd just beat him, and that was why when the scores come out and it's a split decision, I go, "It's a good job you've got 3 judges,"
yeah,
because I'd have been that judge who'd been scoring for Fury,
yeah.
and
That fight could have gone either way.
you know, so for me, I actually did think he won the first
I
fight.
had Usyk up,
See,
not by a lot.
but again, this is the thing, isn't it? It's a good job there is 3,
Yeah, yeah.
because if there weren't 3 judges,
We watch different things, don't we? That's the
yeah,
thing. And the thing is, as well, you don't watch the same thing every fight. And that's the great thing about boxing is that you can watch a fight today. And I know we spoke about it before, but you can watch a fight today and you'll watch it a certain way and go, "Yeah, it's 2 or 3 rounds up here."
mm,
And then you watch it a week later when it's kind of drifted out your memory a little bit, and you go, "How the fuck did I score that like that?"
yeah,
And
yeah.
you perceive the fight so differently.
I
And I
think,
think it comes from a lot of emotion. I think the information you've been fed on Fight Week, because we obviously
yeah,
watch a lot of content that comes through.
and the commentary of the fight,
The commentary, I quite regularly, if there's a fight that I struggle to score, I'll quite regularly watch it the following day, and I'll mute it
yeah, mute, yeah,
and just understand the fight myself. Someone said, just a quick one, the Leewood Warrington fight that took place last week.
mm,
We were on our way back in the taxi, me and Ben, and someone had put a tweet online saying, "Can someone confirm was it Alexander Usyk or Lee Wood in the ring?" Because apparently I've not watched the fight back. But the commentary were, like, absolutely all over the technical ability
mm,
of Lee Wood. And look, Lee, by the way, because to be fair, Lee, whenever I tag him in things, he does tend to watch our content,
yeah,
but Lee boxed out of his skin.
yeah, yeah,
But again, the commentary have gone through the fact that he's all of a sudden turned into Lomachenko. He boxed very well against both fighters were past the best,
yeah,
in a very competitive fight on paper. He boxed really well, boxed really smart, but this isn't about Lee Wood, so I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. I think, like I say, I thought for me that Fury might have just won the first fight. I think the second fight was night and day, to be honest with you.
Conclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like it was still a competitive fight,
Yep.
and for me, it's still the toughest, other than Derek Chisora, it's still the
100%.
toughest fights that Usyk's ever had. And I just think I didn't, and I still stand by the fact that I don't think there's anyone else at the time, or there's anybody else now that can beat Usyk. I think that
Yeah,
Fury
I
is the
agree.
closest that we will get. And that's just my opinion. And I think what he's trying to do now and what he will probably get is a trilogy fight with Usyk.
He needs a world title. And that will lead us to our next bit. Now, I don't know. I've not even read the notes because we're amateurs.
Yep.
But I'm assuming it is discussing his most recent comeback against Makhmedov.
Briefly want to talk about that. Obviously, we'll do a proper episode about it anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's back
he's back and he's
against
fighting
Makhmedov.
Magmadov.
There's a more interesting point on that card. Two more interesting points. One of which we've already covered to a certain extent, which is obviously our friend Conor Ben. Which again, the video will be on our channel. Go check it out. But there's the John Fury Carl Froch thing that I want to
Yeah.
discuss. But also, the inevitability is that Wardley Dubois, the winner of that fight, will most likely fight Tyson Fury.
Mm.
Because for Tyson to have the currency to go and fight Usyk again, I think Usyk wants a world title. I think he wants it undisputed, in my opinion. And I think, to be honest, I think Tyson needs that. Because Tyson's coming off of, yes, he's a big name, but he's coming off of the losses. He's been in retirement again. Usyk's not been active. That fight is not as big as 1 and 2. So I think Usyk's going to go and do his own thing, but I think Tyson needs to come, prove he's still got a hell of a lot left in the tank, which I do think he has. There's no signs of real degrading
Mm.
on the Usyk performances. I think he needs to win a world title, beat one of the youthful guys, whether that be a Fabio or a Daniel Dubois, and then at that point he can go. Look, got 2 heavyweights. Dubois knocked out AJ. Wardley continues to cause the upset. I've beat him. I'm still the top of the game. Still the king of the division. Usyk, where are you? At that point, Usyk's in a position where, unfortunately, because Tyson's such a loud character in the sport,
Yeah.
if he doesn't
Chasing
reply,
him.
if he doesn't reply to Tyson by going and having that third fight, the only reflection for him is a poor one. Wardley's quiet, which is the reason Usyk's gone, I don't need to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think the fight with Magmadov is. I don't think it's as dangerous as I used to think it was.
no,
I know
no.
Dave Allen's a tough guy. I know he's defensively smarter than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
But Dave Allen stuck it out with him. A man who, is, said himself he's not at that level.
Yeah, just him.
And he's likely to be probably looking at a British title this year, hopefully.
Have you heard who might be his next opponent?
No, but we'll.
Zhilei Zhang.
Okay, that's mad. But yeah,
Beijing
I
exclusive.
think, to be honest with you, that Fury, it's not as dangerous as a fight as I previously thought it was.
Yeah.
But it's still one of those where it's like, got to come correct for that. You got to
Yeah,
be
100%.
ready, and I'm sure he will be, but he's got to stay focused. I think he wins that. I think, like you say, it's just then what happens. Um, I wanted to ask you whether you think Fury's good for boxing, whether you think he's because of his character and because of the way he is, and some of what he says, how he acts. Do you think he is good for
I
boxing?
think he's better for boxing than he is bad for boxing.
Yeah,
Um, he explained that when he was at the press conference, apparently ChatGPT had said that boxing's been boxing's been in decline since Tyson retired. Tyson Fury, we've still been getting great fights
yeah.
in and around the heavyweight division. However, Tyson is a character. There's not many characters of that ilk that bring the drama. But a lot of people don't like that drama. You know,
Hmm.
you look at John and Tyson and some of the things that get thrown around and said and stuff. A lot of it's a bit of a circus, and a lot of people don't appreciate it. The fight quality hasn't changed. Am I glad to see Tyson back? Yeah, of course I am. 100%, because he's a world class heavyweight.
Yeah.
Dave Allen, for example, Dave Allen is brilliant for domestic boxing, not because of his ability, because he's a nice guy. People love him. Tyson's the other way. He's a phenomenal world class boxer, and he is. That's undisputed the case. But for me, some of his antics, especially his dad's, some of the antics that come with him, is he good for boxing?
See, I think the reason I asked is because I think he is good for boxing. I think he does a lot of good for boxing. I think he puts lots of eyes on the sport. I think he's excellent. I think he sort of breaks the stigma that you've got to be a certain way as well, which
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah. I'd agree with
He's
that.
a great advocate for the fact that you can be down in the gutter and make your way back.
Yeah.
It's not too late. I think the constant retiring, the odd thing he says that's like, wow, it's just outlandish and crazy to say is poor. But I don't hold him to account for his dad. But his dad's just an absolute cock, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Front and back of it
Let
is
let
he
me
is a cock.
this again will get me some hate, and I appreciate it, but I won't lie to you or anyone that watches this channel, is that I think both Tyson and John, I think their downfall for me is lack of education. I don't think they're particularly smart people. Um, they both apparently behind the scenes good people, but I think some of Tyson's contradictions come through a lack of intelligence, if I'm honest.
Mm.
And I think John especially, he's been talking about how he's eating worms for training. Like that just highlights it for me. Carl Froch is like, I've got a physio, I've got strength and conditioning, I've got everything set up, and John's like, I'm eating mud.
Golf Roach.
Yeah.
I think a little bit like I think the Furies have found themselves, as in not just Tyson, but the rest of the Furies,
Yeah.
John, anybody else in that family, have found themselves in a unique position of realizing that they are in the limelight
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they can benefit by being in the limelight. And the best way to draw attention to yourself is by being a colossal.
It's noise, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's what John Fury's done. I don't know if he's actually cleverer,
Wow.
smarter.
You've really, really highlighted
Cleverer
that
is
one.
definitely a word. I don't know if he's smarter than
We give him credit
than
for.
we see. I think he probably knows all this stuff's a bit stupid, and plays on it a bit. I think he does. He's obviously full of himself anyway, but I think he does play on it a little bit.
I actually do. So I've always, as you'll, for anyone who tells, I appreciate time wise, but for anyone who can tell by the photo, the signed glove, some other bits and bobs, I'm actually a big fan of Team Fury, and that including his dad. And one of the big things for me is you touched on it, and before we end, I think it's something that's important that we touch on. And it is something we're getting more involved with. We are waiting for a few bits, but boxing is a horrible sport, but so's life. In regards to Tyson, like you said, has proven it time and time again that you can be down, out, whether it be
Yeah,
alcohol, drugs, weight, whatever it may be. And if you're able just to focus yourself, whether through that be through boxing, sport, or whatever that may be, not beer, drink responsibly, um, that you can turn things around. And for me, that's huge, and that gives a real when he went through that period, that for me gave a real indication of what the real Tyson is.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah. Look, really excited. I'm glad he's back. He's definitely better for boxing than he's worse.
I wanted to ask
I think his dad should shut the fuck up occasionally, but
yeah, exactly. I think the last couple of things I wanted to touch on was obviously the big thing that all British fight fans and probably fight fans around the world want is Fury and AJ to clash. Obviously, some horrible personal circumstances for AJ at the moment. We don't know really what's happening with him. I'm sure he'll be in no rush to make any decisions. But if he was to make his way back to the ring, do we see that ever happening fairly quickly? Do you see that ever happening?
yeah,
You think it will?
yeah, it's too big not to happen for me.
I think.
Even if they're 48, when it's like Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather 2,
I
I think it
think
happens.
when Eubank Ben 2 happened and Turkey was talking about big announcements and there was hints that Fury was coming back and things like that, I was fairly confident it would happen. The landscape in boxing seems to be changing. Queensberry's falling out with Sella. Zuffer's coming in, TKO and TKO Shake and Sella all sort of working that way.
Yeah.
Don't really know what to expect anymore, so I don't know how easily that will happen. But if he does fight AJ, and this is one of the other things I want to talk about, and if he was to beat him, do you think that actually does much for
No.
his legacy at this
Doesn't
point?
does any I don't think it does. For me, I think from a casual's point of view, I think it will hold.
It'll tick a box, that's all
I
really.
think it holds gravitas with the casual fans, because it's the name
Yeah, yeah,
attached to
yeah.
him. Whereas for us, knowing that AJ and Fury are past their best, it comes down to that fight of not who was better in their prime, but who's got the most left.
Mm,
And I think if Tyson beats AJ, I'll go, yep, fair enough. If AJ actually went and beat Tyson, I wouldn't be surprised.
mm.
Whereas if you'd have asked me post Wilder 3, when Tyson was in his absolute prime for me, in my opinion, that's when we saw the best Tyson. He was the most aggressive, most come forward, really good. Against AJ, when he beat Klitschko, to be fair, was probably prime AJ. I'd have said Tyson would have played with him.
Yeah.
I think Tyson is. I think Tyson's that level above. I think Tyson is one of the greatest heavyweights.
I do believe as well, if and it's crazy to say, obviously we'll have to see how he is after this is sick retirement, but if he uh, if he performs well in this fight, and if Usyk was to decide, you know what, enough's enough, I'm retiring, and I am actually retiring,
Yep.
I believe Fury could stay in the fight game for another 3 or 4 years,
Yep.
pick up every single one of them belts, and beat everybody else who wants to fight him, with the exception of, I think, in a couple of years' time, Moses Tamer is gone. There's a couple of heavyweights that are
Yeah.
looking like a couple of years' time they'll be ready for the big deal.
I think Tyson.
I think he's that good.
I think Tyson is that good that if he's got 70% of what he had, he would deal with a Wardley. He'd deal with he's way too clever for a Dubois. A Caballel, I think he's too big, too strong for. Because Caballel isn't as good as an Usyk, which means that the strength, the size difference, I think would play its part a hell of a lot more than
Yeah,
against Usyk.
yeah.
I think Tyson would beat some of the younger guys, and I think that way he'd absolutely cement himself as a. Is he a top 10 heavyweight of all time? I don't know.
There's too many
We'd
good
have to do we'd have
heavyweights.
to do a video, but you've got people like people forget, but you go back and you look at the likes of the great Rocky Marciano
Yeah,
and
there's too many
Joe
from back
Lewis
then,
and
isn't there? That's
yeah,
the thing.
exactly. I mean, Joe Lewis, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier.
Yeah,
We're at 4, and I've not named either of the Klitschko's.
George Foreman.
Do you know what I mean? Roy Jones Jr. fought at heavyweight. It snowballs. So
Yeah,
definitely top 25. Top
yeah.
25.
But that does bring us to the end of our episode. We wanted to try something a little bit different. We wanted to talk about a current fighter, see what we think of them, where they've been, where they're going. Obviously a little bit different for Tyson Fury, but we are thinking about doing it for some of the fighters who are a bit more early in their career. We'd love to know if you like this, if you want us to talk about a particular fighter or anything like that.
Yeah,
Please
drop us a
do.
name.
Yeah, please do drop it in the comments.
100%.
Make sure, as always, to like and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. Go and check out over there for some of the clips and things like that. And of course, thank you again to BEER52. Make sure to have a look in the link in the description to see if you'd like to get yourself a free crate.
What do you mean if you'd like? It's free. Get yourself a free crate.
Nobody drinks beer.
All right, then don't. They also do dark ales, light ales, whiskey. They do all sorts.
But use our link
But use our link because we're only involved with beer at the minute.
at the minute.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.